allowing defenders to get physical with her without calling fouls, to bully her instead of accepting and embracing her league-changing, league-lifting impact.
Caitlin Clark has just been thrust into the center of a new scandal that has left the basketball world stunned. And what Saturday's footage revealed about the referee's treatment of her has completely shattered the WNBA's image of fairness and integrity. What happened during the final seconds of Indiana's heartbreaking 90-88 loss to New York wasn't just bad officiating. It was deliberate sabotage caught on camera, and the evidence is so damning that it's impossible to explain away as human error or missed calls. The explosive moment came with 2.2 seconds remaining and everything on the line. Clark had the ball at half court after receiving an inbound pass from Sophie Cunningham, with the Fever trailing by just 2 points and needing a miracle to force overtime or steal an improbable victory. As Clark drove toward the basket, Liberty defender Natasha Cloud made contact that was so obvious, so egregious, and so undeniably a foul that even casual fans watching at home immediately recognized the blown call. Cloud pushed her shoulder directly into Clark's body, disrupting her shot attempt and knocking the ball loose in a move that would have resulted in free throws in any fairly officiated game. The footage captures Clark's disbelief as she throws her arms up, yelling, "You gotta be kidding me!" then turns to the ref and asks, "Are you serious?" summing up what millions of fans were thinking. But this wasn't just one missed call. The post-game stats tell a bigger story. A -31 free throw gap, with Indiana shooting just 15 compared to New York's 46. For a team that constantly attacks the rim, that kind of disparity is almost unheard of. It points to something deeper than bad officiating. Coach Stephanie White's furious post-game comments may be the strongest public criticism of WNBA refs in league history. "I thought she got fouled," White said, her voice trembling with barely controlled anger. "I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us these last few games. A -31 free throw discrepancy. I might be able to understand that if we're chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. The disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable." White's comments represent the first time a WNBA coach has directly accused referees of systematic bias, using the word egregious to describe what she's witnessing. When a professional coach reaches the point where she's willing to risk fines and league discipline to speak out about corruption, you know the situation has reached a crisis point. The most damning part of White's statement came when she addressed the consistency issue. "We're not looking for a change. We're just looking for consistency. The disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. It's disappointing that it doesn't go both ways, but we can't allow that to consume us." This wasn't a coach complaining about isolated bad calls. This was a professional acknowledging a systematic pattern of bias that has been building over multiple games. The phrase, "it doesn't go both ways," is particularly revealing, suggesting that the referees are applying different standards to different teams. What makes this corruption even more devastating is the timing and stakes involved. Clark was on the verge of making WNBA history with what would have been her 11th game with 20 points and 10 assists, a feat that would have set a new league record. The missed foul call didn't just cost the Fever a potential victory, it robbed Clark of a chance to etch her name in the record books once again. The difference in how Caitlin Clark is officiated compared to other stars is now so blatant that even Liberty fans were uncomfortable. Videos from the arena show supporters from both teams reacting in disbelief to the non-call, with some Liberty fans even defending Clark's right to fair treatment. But the issue goes far beyond one missed foul. All game long, Clark took hits with no calls, while soft fouls were repeatedly called against the Fever. Footage shows clear contact that would earn most stars a trip to the line, but not Clark. When she tried to speak to the refs, they dismissed her completely, showing a level of disregard that felt intentional, not accidental. Aaliyah Boston's post-game comments revealed how the systematic bias has affected the entire team's mentality. When it comes to accepting the calls, it's like we don't really have a choice, because they're going to call what they want to call. So for us, we just have to finish through contact. If we don't get it, we don't get it, but we have to give ourselves the best opportunity to get that basket. Boston's quiet acceptance of biased officiating highlights a major failure in WNBA refereeing. When players expect unfair treatment, the game's integrity is lost. Saturday's non-call sparked a firestorm online, with fans flooding social media to document the bias and demand action. Some predicted referees would be replaced by AI, while others flat out accused them of refusing to uphold fairness. One fan summed it up best: "We read about killing the golden goose as kids. The WNBA is doing it in real life by letting their most-watched player get mauled game after game. This situation underscores a major problem. The WNBA is allowing clear, repeated bias against its biggest star to continue unchecked, risking the very player driving record ratings, sold-out arenas, and a surge in popularity." Despite Caitlin Clark's massive impact on the league's growth, officials keep targeting her, and it's starting to affect not just her performance, but the Fever's season as a whole. At 2-2, Indiana is off to a better start than last year, but the mental toll of unfair treatment is visible. Saturday's non-call, broadcast live on CBS, exposed the issue to millions. Multiple angles showed clear contact, yet 3 referees ignored it, something that looks far more like a pattern than a mistake. The non-call with 2.2 seconds left adds a deeper layer to the controversy. In the game's most critical moment, officials ignored a clear foul on the league's biggest star, making the decision feel intentional. Clark's stat line, 18 points, 10 assists, 10 turnovers, and 2 for 11 from 3, shows a player battling not just her opponents, but also consistent bias. Her frustration was clear and impacted her play. The bigger issue is the league's integrity. The bias is now too obvious to ignore. Coach White's bold criticism marks a historic moment, openly challenging the fairness of WNBA officiating. The WNBA now faces a turning point: address the clear bias or risk losing credibility and fans. Saturday's footage leaves no room for denial. Officiating errors were blatant and damaging. For Caitlin Clark, this is just the latest in a troubling pattern of unfair treatment, with her visible frustration showing she's had enough. The Fever were in position to beat the defending champs, but a mix of poor execution and biased calls handed New York an undeserved win. The evidence is undeniable, and the corruption is now public. The league must act or let its integrity continue to crumble.
A timeout for Indiana. The screening action down low. Clark has to get open. 1 second left. Clark doesn't get the shot off. Cloud locks her up, and New York comes into Indianapolis and takes the checkered flag.
Caitlin Clark is used to the spotlight. But what unfolded in the final seconds of the Indiana Fever's matchup against the New York Liberty left fans stunned, her coach furious, and the basketball world in shock. It was supposed to be another chance for Clark to shine. With just under 3 seconds on the clock and her team trailing by 2, she received the inbounds pass, took a dribble, and rose up to take a potential game-winning three-pointer. But before she could even get the shot off, Natasha Cloud stripped the ball away. No whistle, no foul, just the sound of the buzzer echoing through Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Clark stood frozen, arms raised in disbelief. She swung a fist in the air, then turned to the referees, searching for an explanation that never came. The Fever had lost, 90-88. "I thought she got fouled," said Fever head coach Stephanie White after the game, and she didn't stop there. "I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games, a -31 free throw discrepancy, and I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim." White's frustration wasn't just about a single missed call. She and the team believed the officiating had been consistently lopsided for several games in a row. According to her, it wasn't just one play, it was a pattern. And it wasn't just that final no call. The Fever had several other key moments late in the game where they felt wronged. They argued that Cloud had also fouled DeWanna Bonner on a blocked shot just moments earlier. Then came the controversial whistle on Lexi Hull, which gave Sabrina Ionescu 2 free throws with 2.9 seconds left. Free throws that turned out to be the game winners. Without a timeout left to challenge, Indiana was helpless to stop the cascade of what they believed were unfair calls. Clark, who finished with 18 points, 10 assists, and 10 turnovers, had her struggles early. She turned the ball over 9 times in the first 3 quarters, unable to find rhythm against a swarming Liberty defense. But like the superstar she is, she eventually found her spark, bringing the Fever back into the game with a 4-point play and a stunning 33-foot buzzer beater to close the third quarter. By the fourth, the Fever had stormed back from a 15-point deficit to take a 12-point lead. They were poised to upset the defending champions until everything unraveled. Jonquel Jones, quiet in the first half, came alive. Sometimes I did get out of game, and I kind of felt myself slipping into that at halftime, Jones said. So yeah, it's just going out there playing, trusting my teammates. She finished with 26 points and 12 rebounds, outscoring the entire Fever team 14-12 in the fourth quarter alone. Meanwhile, Natasha Cloud put together a stat line that included 16 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 steals, and 2 blocks. Her defensive heroics in the final seconds were just the cherry on top. But Clark wasn't ready to condemn the refs outright after the game. When asked whether she believed she was fouled, she hesitated. "I don't know," she said. "I'd have to go back and watch." That level-headedness may have helped her maintain her composure, but her frustration was visible. As the final horn sounded, she was clearly shaken by the lack of a call that could have sent her to the line for 3 potential game-winning free throws. And from her coach's perspective, this wasn't just a tough loss, it was personal. "The disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable," White continued. "It's disappointing that it doesn't go both ways, or it hasn't gone both ways." White's comments reflect a deeper issue many teams have raised about WNBA officiating, particularly when it comes to young or rising squads. With Clark being one of the biggest new stars in the league, expectations around fairness and accountability are even higher. "There's a system to making sure that we can send stuff in and communicate our grievances, so to speak," White noted. "I don't know that I ever feel like the system works. We're not looking for a change. We're just looking for consistency." The numbers back up her concerns. The Liberty shot 25 of 32 from the free throw line. The Fever, just 11 out of 15. That kind of discrepancy becomes especially glaring in a game decided by just 2 points. Despite the controversy, Clark took a broader perspective when reflecting on the team's performance. "We are 2 possessions from being 4-0, she said, "but there were so many little areas of this game we could have improved. It definitely stings, but this is what's going to make us better at the end of the year." That mindset might be what carries this team through the ups and downs of the season, but for now, the sting of this particular loss is hard to ignore. Not just because of what happened, but because of what it represents. The WNBA is at a pivotal moment. With rising stars like Caitlin Clark bringing unprecedented attention to the league, every game and every call carries more weight. And when fans feel like the rules aren't being enforced fairly, the backlash is immediate. Social media exploded after the game, with fans and analysts alike calling out the no call on Clark and criticizing the officiating overall. Videos of the final play circulated widely, with countless viewers insisting the contact was clear. But from Natasha Cloud's perspective, it was clean. "When she came up, gave her a little bit of pressure," Cloud explained. "I knew she was going to pull it. She wanted a 3. Obviously, you want to go for the win at home, and I knew that she had a little bit of a rough shooting tonight. Her instincts were right. Clark had been looking for that big moment, but the refs didn't see enough to blow the whistle. And that silence could echo well beyond just one game." For now, the Fever have no choice but to move on. They travel to Washington next to face the Mystics, hoping to regroup and find a way to close out games without relying on the officiating. But this loss will linger. It's the kind that sticks in a team's memory, not just for the missed calls, but for the feeling of injustice that came with them. And for Caitlin Clark, it's a bitter reminder that even when you're the league's biggest name, sometimes you don't get the call. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Was it a foul or a clean play? We want to hear from you. Stay tuned for more WNBA drama and highlights right here. The Indiana Fever, they announced Sophie Cunningham's availability for their May 22nd rematch against the Atlanta Dream. The 28-year-old guard's return sparked immediate excitement across social media platforms and among basketball analysts. Cunningham had been sidelined since sustaining a right ankle injury during a May 10th preseason game against the same Atlanta team she faced upon her return. The Fever acquired Cunningham through a February 4-team trade involving the Phoenix Mercury, Dallas Wings, and Connecticut Sun. This blockbuster deal positioned the Fever as championship contenders for the 2025 WNBA season. Cunningham spent 6 seasons with the Phoenix Mercury after being drafted 13th overall in 2019, establishing herself as a reliable defensive player and three-point threat. Cunningham stunned fans when she revealed the true extent of her injury through a social media post on May 21st. She shared a video showing her pregame outfit for the Fever's May 20th game against Atlanta, captioning it, "Probs shouldn't have worn heels with a broken ankle, but beauty is pain." Fan reactions flooded social media immediately. One fan questioned, "It's broken." Another wrote, "No, I've been watching Fever games hoping you will play." A third fan expressed disbelief. "No, a broken ankle." The announcement transformed what many believed was a minor injury into a serious concern about Cunningham's availability for the season. The timing of this revelation proved particularly significant. Cunningham had just denied allegations the previous day regarding claims of an inappropriate relationship with Phoenix Suns CEO Josh Bartelstein. The injury announcement came amid this controversy, adding another layer to her absence from the Fever's early games. Cunningham sustained her ankle injury during the third quarter of the Fever's final preseason game on May 10th. She was seen limping off the court and later appeared wearing a protective boot. Initial reports labeled her as day-to-day, with head coach Stephanie White relying on the medical staff to guide the recovery process. The Fever took a conservative approach to Cunningham's rehabilitation. White emphasized the team's philosophy of prioritizing long-term health over immediate availability. She noted the importance of saving players from themselves, highlighting the balance between player enthusiasm and medical caution. Key recovery milestones showed steady progress. On May 16th, Cunningham won a half-court shooting contest, jumping without visible ankle discomfort. 3 days later, on May 19th, she participated in an open shoot-around, taking three-point shots and making passes without apparent limitations. White provided regular updates on Cunningham's status. Speaking to Indiana Fever beat reporter Scott Agnes on May 21st, she said, "I hope so. Obviously, we have to go through today with no setbacks, but I'm hopeful that she'll be able to be in uniform and be on the floor for us." The decision to upgrade Cunningham from questionable to available on May 22nd demonstrated the medical staff's confidence in her recovery. White confirmed that Cunningham would face no minutes restriction, signaling complete medical clearance. The Fever began the 2025 season with mixed results in Cunningham's absence. Their May 17th season opener against the Chicago Sky resulted in a dominant 93-58 victory. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell delivered standout performances that showcased the team's offensive capabilities. The May 20th game against Atlanta exposed areas needing improvement. The Fever suffered a narrow 91-90 defeat in a game that came down to the final seconds. Clark recorded 27 points, 5 rebounds, and 11 assists, but the team lacked the depth and defensive intensity that Cunningham typically provides. White's bench rotation during the Atlanta loss highlighted Cunningham's absence. She brought Damiris Dantas, Brianna Turner, Sydney Colson, and Lexi Hull off the bench, but only Hull logged significant playing time with 29 minutes. The other 3 players combined for fewer than 30 minutes, demonstrating the team's limited depth without Cunningham. The coaching staff recognized Cunningham's value beyond statistics. White had previously described her as definitely an X factor following her 21-point, 8-rebound preseason performance against Washington. She added,
"Oh my God, Sophie's a dog. She just is, she's a competitor. She's versatile, so she allows us to do different things. Like, she plays with such a toughness. She's huge, and she's going to be for us all season long. But what she brings from an energy standpoint, she raises the level of play of everybody around her as soon as she steps foot on the floor. Hell, even on the sideline. I mean, her communication, everything. She's definitely an X factor."
Cunningham's basketball journey began when the Phoenix Mercury selected her 13th overall in 2019. She spent 6 seasons in Phoenix, developing into a key rotational player known for defensive intensity and three-point shooting ability. Her 2024 statistics with Phoenix demonstrated her versatility: 8.4 points, 3.9 rebounds, and 1.0 steals per game while shooting 42.9% from the field and 37.8% from three-point range. These numbers reflected her ability to contribute across multiple areas without demanding high usage rates. Cunningham's career peak came during the 2022 season when she averaged 12.6 points and 4.4 rebounds per game. She shot 44.9% from the field and 40% from three-point range that year, establishing herself as a reliable offensive contributor. Her playoff experience includes the 2021 WNBA Finals appearance with Phoenix. The Mercury valued Cunningham for qualities that extended beyond traditional statistics. Her physicality, defensive intensity, and willingness to take charges made her a valuable team player.